We all know the text that's going to come from somebody right after you lose your person. It goes something like this: let me know if I can do anything. Of course, that person's intention is good. They really actually do wish that they could help you. But as a widow, that sentence feels pretty overwhelming. I don't know about you, but I just felt like I can hardly even parse through what I need. I was just in shock and survival mode, let alone being able to figure out how to ask somebody for help or what to even ask for. If that sounds familiar to you, I completely get it. I also don't want you to write off all those people whose intentions were good and really actually might be willing to help you. Sometimes people will surprise you. In talking to hundreds and hundreds of widows, I see generally two camps of people. One who feel like they have an amazing supportive community that is there whenever they need it, and another group of people who feel like they don't. They've been pretty disappointed by the lack of response from people maybe they thought would show up, or just the community in general. What I'm hoping to do today is to give you some language and maybe some permission to just ask for help when you need it. I know that's really hard and it feels vulnerable, but in my experience, when you ask for what you need, people are gonna step up and provide the help. You might have to ask more than once, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. You need time for yourself, and frankly, you need help. I put together a free download of text message scripts that you can use. You can copy and paste, you can edit them as you see fit to send to different people across your life at different times of need and in different scenarios, so that you don't feel like you have to come up with all of this on your own because you're doing enough. It includes scripts for friends, for neighbors, for family members that maybe you thought would show up and haven't, for acquaintances or people you haven't actually ever even really spoke to for more than a few seconds. And it approaches things with a variety of tones, so you can grab that in the description below, save it to your phone so that when you're in a moment where you actually need help, you can just pull it up, copy, and paste it to somebody who might be able to help. The rule we're talking about today is simple. It's just let them help. I know for a lot of people that's very, very difficult, so I just want to name that. One thing I did find difficult, but I did anyway, when Mike died, my kids were 5 and 7. To be honest, my little guy was kind of a lot at that time. Even he would tell you. But something I did is I reached out to my kids' friends' parents, and instead of saying, hey, does your kid want to come over for a play date? I would flip the script, even though this is totally socially unacceptable, and I would say, is it okay if Augie comes over for a play date? And I usually felt really bad, but you know what? My kids' friends' parents were like, my kid likes your kid. Yes, of course, we will take August for you so that you can have a few minutes. And I did it kind of regularly because frankly, I needed it. And when I had the capacity to turn around and invite their child over to our house, I would do it. It wasn't all the time, but every once in a while I felt like, okay, I've got it together today or this week. I can have kids over. And then I felt like I wasn't always the burden and I wasn't always taking, that I could provide something as well. And I just felt like that really helped get us through a few years of a really challenging time. And I know those people put extra effort into supporting our families, and I'm pretty sure they felt pretty good about it. Okay, so I just got this great recommendation from someone in a widow's Facebook group, and she said her therapist asked her to write out an entire list of all the things that she felt like she had to do on her own now that her person had died. I'm sure that list is long. If you have the capacity to do that right now, I would recommend you pause the video and try the exercise. Just make a long list of all the things that you feel like you're doing completely on your own. I'm gonna actually pause, do the same for the time right after my husband died. I'll be right back. This could take a while. I've made quite a long list. What I want you to do is take your list, put a check mark by anything that you think other people could feasibly come in and help you do. Mow the lawn. I do not have to do that. Sweeping and mopping, yes. Dishes, laundry, planting and landscaping. There are many things on my list that I could put a check by that if I needed to, not that I'm gonna ask somebody to do all of these things every time, but at a time where I feel like I could use the help, maybe after every single day of making lunches and breakfast for my kids, before we all get out the door and get to school, and I leave the sink filled with dishes, maybe I just need a few day break from that. If I get home and my dishes are done and I don't have to do dishes and then make another meal and then do dishes again, that just provides a little bit of relief and space for me to breathe in my life, and it makes me realize that I am supported. So yes, it's hard to ask, but I really think the payoff is there. So you've gone through your list. You're going to check off all the things that you think other people can do. When one of these things comes up, you can think to yourself, who could I reach out to that could actually help me with that? So let's say the first thing on my list is mow the lawn. I know my neighbor has a lawnmower. He is right across the street, and I'm pretty sure he'd be willing to do it for me this week if I really needed it. I have mow the lawn. I'm going to put my neighbor's name next to this, and possibly I could hire out for that. So I just put an H and circled it because if I have the funds to actually cover that, I could hire somebody to do it. Side note, I know you're trying to be responsible with your money and you can't hire everybody for everything. And maybe previously you didn't feel good about hiring people to do things that you felt like you could do on your own. I know I feel that way. But this is a season in your life where if you can afford it, it really is okay to hire people to come in and do things that would just take some things off your plate. Obviously, you only want to do that if it's financially feasible for you. But if it is, maybe just erase that thing in your brain that says, I don't hire people for things I can do on my own, because you have too much. Okay, so now let's transition quickly to how you can actually ask somebody to be of service to you. First way is a simple ask. The second way, a simple time frame. And then I like to sort of end these requests with an easy out in case it's not feasible for somebody and they don't want to feel bad that they have to say no. That's just my personal preference, but I feel like it softens the blow of asking a little bit. You can just end with something like, no pressure if it doesn't work, or I understand if this is a busy time for you too. Just some sort of ending to the text to make it seem like they don't have to, but it would be really great if they could. So let's say it comes time to mow your lawn, you have a busy week and you know you're not going to be able to get to it this week. Let's just pull an example straight from the script text that I've included in the link down below. Let's talk about somebody who has reached out and said, let me know if there's anything I can do to help, but you've never actually cashed in on that offer. The script offers an option like this. Hi Bob, I know you offered to help quite a bit ago and that really meant a lot to me. Things are still pretty overwhelming and I realize I could really use help mowing the lawn this week. Is that something that you'd be able to help me with? No worries at all if timing doesn't work out for you. That's it. It's short, it's clear, it's very specific, and you've given them an out if it really doesn't work for them. Or there's another example where somebody has offered to help, but you really don't know them at all. Like, it was so nice of them to offer, but you actually do know they could be of service. So there's an example for that as well. I know there's this fear, like, am I being weird actually asking for the help? But when you're grieving the love of your life, oftentimes the parent of your kids, you do not have time to worry about what other people are thinking about you. You just need the support that you need. And here's the good news. People who offer, they actually do want to help. I think they would love the opportunity to be able to follow through on that offer. Maybe not constantly, maybe not every week, but once or twice. And when you have several people who have offered, that stuff can really add up. Another thing I think is really important to keep in mind, and a sticking point for I know a lot of people, I think there's some pressure to bring somebody else into the house when you don't necessarily want to entertain. So it's good to think about opportunities for people to come in and help when you might not be home. And it is totally fine to ask for help so that you can go out. One of the things I used to do, I would say, hey, any chance you're up for coming over to help me do my dishes? I could really use to just go for a walk. You do not need to entertain the people who are coming over to help you. You can even ask them to come fold your laundry while you take the kids to the park, because finding time to play with your kids is a hard thing when you are so overwhelmed with duties and things that you must get done. Use this, have somebody come help you, and then take that time to spend time with your kids or spend time by yourself or whatever it is that you actually need in the moment. One more thing that I noticed happens a lot when people feel disappointed about how their community reaches out or doesn't, more specifically, to not let that breed resentment in you and to just find the people who will be able to step up and help you and do your very best to ask for it. You shouldn't have to. People should offer, but in reality, you do need to ask. And I think that's okay, because not only are you getting the help you need, but you're also building this support network of people who understand that this is an ongoing thing that is going to continue to be hard. You're not a solo parent right after your person dies and then a year later, you're no longer solo parenting. No, it's still very hard. And even multiple years later, it's still okay to ask for help. Something else I would try to do is sort of vary who I asked, and having a wider network just gives you more options for who's able to come over and help, and that just feels nice. So if all of this sounds like a step that you're ready to take, or you would like a little bit of support in, go ahead and grab the link down below to the text scripts I've created so that you can have them in your back pocket when you're ready for them. And if you decide to use them, I would love to hear in the comments comments how you've used them, if they've been successful. If not, that is helpful too. I hope that you get the help that you need because you are just one person and this job wasn't meant for one. I look forward to seeing you again next week when I will be back with more content that I hope is helpful to the widow community.